I'm Charlotte Mills and this is the Big Picture Special. The year is 1921. England is overwhelmed by the loss and grief of the First World War. Starring Rebecca Hall, Dominic West and Imelda Staunton, The Awakening is an autumn chiller of an entirely different kind.
Miss Cathcart, I'm a history master at a boys' prep school. I was sent to request your help. You are a ghost hunter as well as an author.
You can't hunt what doesn't exist.
We think we have one that does.
Rebecca Hall and director Nick Murphy attended a Q&A to tell us more about this spooky thriller.
It was a very good script, and it was really scary, actually. What I brought to it was this sense of loss and the idea that the film didn't just address the fact that ghosts exist and now we're sort of going to scare you with them, but the idea that it addressed in some way why we see them, and that grief and loss would be something to do with that. As soon as I sort of thought of this idea that actually it could be what fuels the need to see them, and that could be at the heart of it, and it could become a film about that with jumps and scares rather than a horror film that I was trying to then work some emotion into. Then I thought, oh, right, now I know I could make it. When we first met about it, and I'd sent the script to Rebecca, I did tell her I'd had to remind when writing the script, and her face sort of fell as she realised I was a stalker.
It's strong, the characters are interesting, but I was looking for something that scared me, and an image that scared me, and then I hit the doll's house, and then it was kind of a done deal.
There's a sort of strength to Florence, not unlike, I don't mean this in a pejorative way, but there's a sort of quite an equine quality to Florence, and there's a strength and an intelligence, but there's a skittishness and a vulnerability to her as well. And I thought, actually, having seen the performance in Why Sargasso Sea, she would be able to bring that, she would be able to realise that, and she had the technical gifts to do that.
It's an interesting challenge to play someone who's in extremity so much of the time. I'd never done anything like that. It's one thing to play emotions that are very familiar and sort of drawing roomish. It's another thing to be running through the woods screaming for your life. And I'd never done that.
Rebecca and Dominic and Imelda, I mean, they're just, I can't overstate the application, and they were just interested in working, you know, together, and just the fact that they were seeking that is a credit to them.
I did do a lot of research about it. There were a couple of books that were really helpful, and I read stuff from that period, but then I had to sort of let it go, because she's not a typical woman of this period, and there is a bit of license taken in terms of who she is, and she was right for the world of the film, not necessarily the historical world. So I had to make it right for the film.
Honestly, I researched the notions of loss in the period and the records of that, and how actually people did grieve or didn't, and what they were expected to do and didn't do. I didn't research magnetic detectors and bell jars.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a
well,
movie,
that was
you know. I think that's all part of the fun.
Third of an ounce of magnesium and potassium chlorate per tray. As the wire is tripped, the aperture opens for a 30th of a second, and an electrical charge ignites the powder.
What about these?
Those are footprint catchers.
Ghosts have footprints.
No, people pretending to be ghosts do.
I was keen for the scares to be, much like when you watch a drama, if you feel you've earned the information or you spotted it, you're the one that's garnered the information, then I think it's a little bit more rewarding. And I guess I just like that idea that to look at the outside of that house, it's Pemberley, it's not scary. And for us to earn the scares, I'm hoping that ends up cumulatively more rewarding. One of the things we said very early is we don't have bird in the woods moments. You know, when you're in a film, when the birds fly out of the woods and then, oh, it's birds. You sort of feel resentment. I always feel a bit, you cheated me, you know, and it's a bit like being cheated in emotion. All you're doing is tricking me into caring about this person and then having something horrendous happen to them. I think it's Chekhov says if there's a gun on the wall in Act 1, it needs to get fired in Act 2. We sort of know that. If you show too much of something, you sort of feel there's an expectation. I think Daniel Pemberton's brilliant score in this film contributes to it, because for example, when she goes to the bathroom hole, when he wrote a piece that was much more loving, much more about her affection for Mallory, and didn't have any tension in it at all. So when the boo came, you felt it was about you tricked me. You know, you led me one way, not the other. And what he managed to do with the piece that was there was, yes, it was sentimental, and yes, there was a sentiment there, but there was still this tension. I think the jumps only really work when there is already tension in the room.
It was really thrilling,
it was
actually, when we saw it in Toronto, because that was really the first time I'd seen it with a group.
And we were on the upper circle at Roy Thompson Hall. Everybody knows it's a very big space they've got there.
When the boy comes in the woods, everybody jumped, but we had about down there this 3-second hammer house of horror scream from this woman. It was brilliant. Yeah, it's great. I wanted people to sort of say, but hang on, Mallory was there when he was there, and to post-analyse the film, to retro, analyse the film. That's all part of the cinematic experience for me. It's a shared thing. I wanted to give people something to talk about on the tube home.
Please show your appreciation for Rebecca and Nick. Thank you.
The Awakening hits cinemas on November the 11th.